I refusing to reconcile. Growing up, my sister, now 22, was the spoiled golden child of our parents. She got everything she ever wanted in life and became the brat nobody wanted their kids to be friends with. I, now 24, even had friends who weren't allowed to come to my house because my sister was there. She would steal, try to make you do what she wanted, and would tell our parents if you didn't, would break stuff if she wasn't included, and then wasn't allowed to take over decision-making. It was a whole thing. We fought a lot as kids, and we both said awful things to each other. But I grew to resent her more and more because of the monster our parents created. The final straw for me was my savings. My parents wouldn't let me open up a bank account because they didn't want me hiding money. They forced my first job to fire me because they were not okay with me keeping money to myself. And I knew they wouldn't help me with college or let me stay rent-free once I was 18. So I started being sneaky about saving. I babysat for friends' parents under the guise of visiting friends. I did errands for family friends or other people. It didn't allow me much in the way of savings, but it allowed me some. But then, like 2 days before my 18th birthday, my sister found and stole the money. And yes, I had it at home, but there was nowhere else to take it. None of my friends' parents were okay with me storing it at their house, in case any went missing and I accused them. They were fine helping me get money, but they didn't want the responsibility of storing it, which I understand. My sister even told our parents I had the money, and they got so mad at me. In return, I told my sister to fuck off and never speak to me again. And from that day onward, she wasn't my sister, and I didn't love or give a damn about what would happen to her. I left on my birthday and never went back. I was no contact from then until now. My sister reached out to me a few weeks ago because a relative gave her my number. She apologized, told me she was sorry, said she had grown up and realized how shitty she was, and she knew stealing, breaking stuff, getting me into trouble intentionally, and trying to control everything was wrong. She said she loved and missed me and was hoping we could repair our relationship. I didn't reply. I read the text and I kept it on my phone, but I didn't reply. 2 weeks later, she texted the exact same thing with an apology if I got the first, but she wanted to be sure. Then, a few days ago, she texted again and said she knew it was my number and wanted to know why I ignored her when she had apologized and was hoping I'd forgive her so we could have a relationship. I replied one time, and I considered not doing this, and I told her that part of growing is accepting people don't have to forgive you or reconcile with you just because you apologized, and that sometimes the harm done can't be undone, and doors are closed forever. I didn't reply after that. Then the relative who gave her my number said I should have been more accepting. I told her that I didn't need to listen to this. Peace began where contact ended. I went no contact with my daughter. Throwaway because my daughter knows my main account and uses Reddit too. I, 46, raised my daughter by myself. I got pregnant by my ex-boyfriend, but as soon as he found out I was pregnant, he gave me an ultimatum to abort or he'd leave. I chose to keep the baby, and he left. I later learned he had fled the country to avoid paying child support. I struggled, but we got by. I decided to move back in with my parents, and I stayed there for a couple of years. I then got a job in a clothes store, and there I could provide for my daughter. Over her teenage years, however, my daughter became spoiled. She began being more demanding, always wanting the latest clothes, phone, and was always quite annoying. I shrugged it off as a puberty thing and knew she'd get over it. When she was 15, her father tried reaching out and said he had returned to the country and was struggling now after his girlfriend, I didn't know he had, allegedly split up with him. He contacted me saying he was sorry. He even said he would pay me everything he owed me in child support. However, I refused, which angered my daughter. She said he might be able to provide better for her, but I told her that he very likely is having a tough time and wants to come back just so we can look after him, and that he left me struggling when I was pregnant. She got upset, but didn't mention it again. When she was 18, she told me she was dating a 19-year-old guy and was going to live with him. Of course, I wanted to let my daughter spread her wings, so I asked if she was sure, and then she moved in with him. Apparently, she's now gone low contact with me because I'm apparently a bad parent for not letting her reconcile with her father. She only lets me visit once every couple of months for a couple of hours, and also tries to avoid talking to me over the phone and via text as much as she can. Her boyfriend, apparently, has now broken up with her, and the lockdown is lifting where I live, so soon she'll have to move out as her boyfriend is giving her a month. I asked her why her boyfriend broke up, and she said it was because he thought she was being emotionally abusive towards me, and he didn't want to be with her. She wants to move back in with me, as she told me when she called me last weekend. I decided to tell her no. I told her I was cutting contact with her because she was being horrible and abusive, and I didn't want her to live with me, as she evidently didn't care about me and only wanted a roof over her head. She got angry and swore down the phone, telling me she's going to be homeless, and I was the nasty one by not letting her see her father, who may be able to provide for her better. I told her that her father didn't care about her and only wanted to use her, but she hung up. She hasn't spoken to me since. Update. I decided about a week ago I would contact my daughter and offer her a chance to live with me for a while. I contacted her, and she did not answer a few times, but then, on the fourth time, she did answer. It turns out she had been looking for a place to stay with the small amount of money she had so she could get a better paying job later on. But she had no luck finding a place to live and only had about 3 weeks to leave her boyfriend's house. I did feel sorry for her. I don't think I'm a narcissist, and I do still think she was acting a little spoiled, entitled, and narcissistic. But I do feel sorry for my daughter, so I decided to let her come live with me on one condition: that she would be nice, friendly, and wouldn't act spoiled anymore. She agreed and decided to move in with me yesterday. She has since been helpful, polite, and hasn't acted spoiled since. I'm confident she has changed from her previous self. She asked me if she could meet her father, but I'm still not sure. I decided to give my ex's number, but I told her to take what he may say with caution, as I still didn't trust him very much. She has spoken to my ex over the phone, and they got to know each other, but I do hope my ex genuinely is sorry and we could start over someday.